to the Force Always. My name is Diz, aka David Zammit, with the news, views, reviews, and interviews about Star Wars. News. At the moment, the only news I can give you is there's actually, as a sort of fun fact type of news, 4 productions right now going ahead in Star Wars. I'll tell you which ones. Maul, the animated series that should be in its finalization part, as it will, I think, be coming later this year, maybe early next year. Maul, it's an animated series called Maul. It's about Darth Maul. Who is Darth Maul? Darth Maul is the red and black faced villain in Phantom Menace Episode 1. Technically, from what we all got to know, is the first apprentice, but he's not the actual first apprentice. He's just what we know in the story of Star Wars storyline so far. So Maul is happening at the moment. Starfighter, with no real set leaks at the moment, no real substantial, interesting, juicy news, photos, whatever. Personally, I'm glad for that. I'd rather have no, spoilers. I'm that type of person. I'd rather see nothing, hear nothing. And personally, if I had an absolute choice, I would rather not see a trailer. Just go into it cold and see it. But that production is now about a week and a half in the making. That's the next real Star Wars film coming out in 2027, May 2027. I mean, the next film that's coming out for Star Wars is Mandalorian and Grogu, which is next year in May as well. But anyway, that's and that is also in production. That's the third one. And the other production is Ahsoka. That should be coming to a close also. That's a live action series for Disney Plus. Anyway, there's 4 pieces of production right now happening in its various start, middle, finish forms that's happening for Star Wars. That's exciting. For me, I'm the most excited for Star Wars Starfighter. Yeah, that's the one I'm most excited for. Anyway, let's not get into my opinion right now. Let's get into now views. Speaking of views, that are one of the stories that I just mentioned, Mandalorian and Grogu coming out next year, May, which I will see multiple times. I'm not that excited for it as yet. The teaser trailer sort of thing that happened in Japan, that was also at the D23 event just recent, so it's not got me super excited yet. But my story idea, actually centers around Mandalorian Grogu. How can you make this exciting? Now, it might be a fan service to some. It might be a bit of a oh, look at this. We're going to this planet. We're going to that planet. We say, look at this. Ooh, fan service. For me, I'm not into the bringing down of Star Wars because of fan service. I'm not into the ideas of if they have to, go back to a planet or have a character reappear. It's all a part of the storytelling. That's me. But what I would like to most see in the Mandalorian Grogu, which is probably a big fan service, but personally, it would make sense, I reckon, to center a big part of the story, the mysterious species and planet with detail in the story of Mandalorian and Grogu is what we would call the Yoda planet. Technically, the Grogu planet, because they're both of the same species. What species, it has not been specified, but I would love to see like the slow but sure mysterious planet and way of life and species to be revealed, not just be revealed, but to sort of have like a like an ET type film, sort of really in mystique, lots of just juicy information about how they are just a superior Jedi species. Because so far we've had, I think, well, technically we've had actually 3 Yoda species in the Star Wars series. One that's not highly recognized, but it's Yaddle. Technically, in a fun sort of and funny way, Yaddle technically is the wife of Yoda, which is not really meant to be. But she was inserted, I think, in the first version of The Phantom Menace, Episode 1. She has appeared in some of these animation shorts. But let's just get back into what my view is. I would love to see a Yoda planet be revealed. The species, the background, the intricacies about that within the Mandalorian and Grogu. How would that be relevant? Well, obviously Grogu, but the Mando man, just as sort of a guide, and sort of protector of Grogu, and furthermore in this planet as well. That to me would be just, the specifics of a story I don't have at this stage, but I think that would be a great inclusion. It would make me so excited just to sort of, imagine a trailer having snippets, not reveals, but snippets of the possibilities of a Yoda planet and the description, information in this film. It would be great. It wouldn't be a Yoda film. It would be part of Grogu and a part of Mandalorian. You just need to sort of write it right. Anyway, that's my story idea for this time. Let's get into reviews. Reviews this time around is about a figure of mine. Sort of speaking of Episode 1, I've got a huge collection of Episode 1 figures. And this is probably one of my favourite characters in Episode 1. And still to this day, a really complex droid. There it is. It is the Destroyer droid, they're calling it here. The Destroyer droid. That's the original Phantom Menace Episode 1 Destroyer droid. They appeared first in trying to assassinate Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn in the intro. They roll around, they're fantastic. This is one of my favourite figures, one of my favourite characters from Episode 1. That's it. I'll give it 9 out of 10, character and figure. It's got a little bit of dust on there just because it is just, on my shelves behind me. Anyway, look at that. Beautiful. Let's get into now interviews. Well, once again, we've got Michael. Michael from Werribee South. It's part of Melbourne, part of Victoria, Melbourne, Australia, where only Michael can live. He just loves living there because it's near the beach. But anyway, his questions, well, anyone can send in questions, just to let you know. Not just Michael. If you have a comment, if you have a question to ask me, I'll see how I can answer that, if it is appropriate. Anyway, so let's get into questions. Now, this was referring to my last episode, which was not a real Star Wars episode, but it was more of a Star Wars perspective on a movie I saw, which was called Kangaroo, which is yet to be released still, but it's coming soon to your theatre near you, whether that's America or Australia. Anyway, so this question is actually directed towards Kangaroo, the film. Where is Kangaroo filmed in Australia? Well, it's in the northern part of Australia, the Northern Territory, near Alice Springs, near the big thing called, it used to be called Ayers Rock, it's now called Uluru. the Aboriginal name. It's now, you cannot climb Uluru now. It's a protected area. But anyway, it's filmed up in the Northern Territory mainly, and also parts of Sydney. That's where Kangaroo was filmed. Just to answer that question, really basic. So his next question from Michael from Werribee South is, should Star... Now, this is a Star Wars question. Hold on to your hats. Should Star Wars now listen to creators and cut their losses to get more people back on board for the 50th anniversary movie, which is technically what we're going to understand as Starfighter? Well, yes and no. So creators are the heart and soul of a movie. The executives are the financial backing. You really do need both for a movie. But I think the understanding and definition should be really outlaid very specifically and clearly before you make any movie. The final decision on how a movie really is should be a balance between the executives and creators. But the creators are the ones that just probably have that higher percentage in understanding how a story should work, what the film should look like, what music or sounds we are listening to, in a bigger way than executives. Executives need to entrust that they've got the right people on board for any movie, including Star Wars. That's my answer. My next question, he's going from Michael Werribee South. He's going back to the Kangaroo movie. Is Kangaroo movie based on a true story? Well, technically, it is based on a true story, but there's lots of the actual story of Kangaroo, the movie, that is not exactly a part of the story of the person protecting and having this safe centre towards the end of the film, which is a little bit of a spoiler for Kangaroos. It was sort of the whole journalist part of this film, the person who plays the journalist, the main guy, that part was created to be a part of the story. According to the information given at the advanced screening that I saw about a week ago. So it's mainly a true story in how the kangaroos are protected and just looked after, taken care of, blah, blah, blah. But the journalist part is obviously not real, according to the information I got. Anyway, that is the interview, which was an interview technically for Michael from Werribee South, that I'm answering once again. But if you've got any comments, if you would like, share this video, please do so. Whatever you like to do, the force always. You subscribe and put a notification. Press the notification bell so you know that I'm rocking something. And I've been really coming off with a thunderous amount of episodes. Anyway, that is the episode for this time around. Until next time, my friends, keep rocking.